Tonight, election eve in Broken Hill, we pose questions to the candidates running for the seat of Barwon. And day one of the coronial inquest into the drowning death of a tourist in Port Lincoln.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Campaigning for the New South Wales state election is now in its final stages. Our Broken Hill reporter, Joshua Mercer, spoke with some of the candidates running for the seat of Barwon, just hours before Far West locals head to the polls.
It's the biggest electorate in New South Wales, and locals are ready to vote. The candidates, as well as current MP, ready to represent the West to the best of their abilities, with health, education and roads at the forefront.
Life expectancy gets gradually worse the further west you go. Our educational outcomes in terms of NAPLAN, in terms of ATARs are lower than they are in the metro area. That needs to be addressed. In terms of roads, I didn't think 2 years ago that roads would have been an election issue, but they certainly are.
For Labor candidate Joshua Robert Garnsey, cost of living is high on his list of priorities.
I mean, I'm a renter now, and the cost of living continues to go up, because we have all of our essential state assets being sold off, and there's just no stability in that market.
Annette Turner, the Nationals candidate, has health, education and cost of living as her main priorities as well. She also believes many other problems will arise throughout Barwon.
It's such a broad electorate that there are lots of issues, that it's not only going to be just centred on those few. It's that we must look at every place as we see it.
The candidate's also prioritising small businesses. Each has plans to ensure they don't just survive, but thrive.
Very much into supporting small business and getting small business going, or suggesting to people they should start a small business. I'm known as a serial entrepreneur.
I think we've got a golden opportunity in front of us to really see regional communities grow. I mean, keeping in mind the 2021 census was significantly flawed. We don't know what our population is.
I mean, at the end of the day, if they don't have to spend as much on their bills and there's more money going through the town, then that means that people will be more likely to spend at local small business.
Covering almost half of New South Wales's landmass, Barwon is home to people from a wide range of cultural backgrounds. Current member Roy Butler has been working across the electorate for 17 years in various roles.
So I've had a long relationship with regional New South Wales that helps immensely because it means that I know thousands of people and I've known them for a long time.
Annette Turner remains confident her approach will secure votes.
So I'm comfortable in that environment, and what I've been doing when I've been going into small communities where I see groups of people sitting in parks and so on, I go and sit with them. I ask them if I can sit down with them and have a chat, and say to them if I'm elected, I speak for them.
Joshua Robert Garnsey, also a regular in the regions, adding that Mr Butler set the standard.
I know that I like having forums, I like meeting people, and I think it's always really interesting to hear how people have these different perspectives.
Other candidates for the seat of Barwon include Paul Britton from the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers, Thomas McBride with the Public Education Party, Pat Schiltz with the Greens, Independent Stuart Howe and Ben Hartley with the Legalised Cannabis Party. The polls open at 8 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Coming up to 6 years since her death, a coroner is looking into the circumstances of our Debbie Ochoa's final moments. Alison Hall filed this report outside the Port Lincoln Magistrates Court.
That's right. A dream holiday became a nightmare for the Chua family when their beloved 41-year-old sister and daughter died while on a snorkelling adventure. Their lives changed on December 28, 2017, off the shore of Tumby Bay by Blythe Island. They were swimming with sea lions after disembarking Adventure Bay Charter's boat, the Adventure Lady. Amid the fun, the skipper noticed the group had drifted too far and called them in. When he spotted a pool noodle drifting 2 metres away, he called for a team member to get it. That's when Miss Chua was discovered face down. Despite attempts to revive her by crew members, other participants and paramedics, she didn't survive. It is now up to the coroner to determine whether or not Miss Chewer's drowning was preventable. The inquest will explore whether Adventure Bay Charters had an adequate risk management policy in place and whether participants were provided enough information about the risks of open water snorkelling. Those involved also question the amount of supervision on the day. After the hearing today, viewers were taken to the site of Miss Chewer's death to investigate the area. Her sister, Zivette, was in attendance via a webcam as well, present for the duration of the inquest to discover the outcome of her sister's death. The inquest will continue here in Port Lincoln for the next week, Maddie, until investigations move on to Adelaide. It is expected that by mid-April, closing submissions will be made.
Ali, thank you. An early childcare screening program is being trialled in Whyalla, which could potentially help children and parents with their development. Flinders University, in partnership with the state government, says the pilot will see specialised programs created.
At Good Start Early Learning in Whyalla, Little Alabama is taking part in an endeavour that could change early childhood learning forever. She's undergoing a screening test by a paediatrician and nurse who is testing Alabama's development with maths, drawing and building, as well as a physical checkup.
I'm excited about doing it. Each child's different, and we're certainly hopefully giving the children a really nice experience as well as their parents.
The paediatricians all go to the preschools that have volunteered for the screening pilot, providing a familiar location for children with a teacher close by to provide comfort.
The centre was approached and we had the option to opt in for the health and development checks, and I thought it was a privilege to have that opportunity.
As educators, we know the importance of early childhood, obviously from birth through to 5, so that can absolutely set a child up for the rest of their life.
Whyalla was specifically chosen to bring a regional perspective on the screening.
We know that Whyalla, it's really unfortunate, but often regional centres miss out, and we didn't think that was fair either.
A key aspect of the pilot program is that it will allow parents to be directed towards various organisations and departments to assist with their child's mental and physical well-being at the earliest possible stage.
We have a very extensive referral network, so not just here. We're looking at linking as many of the children into services that are here, but we're also linking children in to services at the Women's and Children's Hospital and other areas across the state.
Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, following 8 arrests in Port Lincoln, we speak with SAPOL about recent break-ins and how these 60,000-year-old bones discovered in the Flinders Ranges help scientists piece together a profile of an ancient eagle. Welcome back. Following up on a story we covered earlier this week, our Port Lincoln reporter Alison Hall spoke with police today about the recent arrests of 8 people in relation to some alleged break-ins. Superintendent Paul Barr says there's been a significant decrease in crime since the arrests were made.
A spate of break-ins left some Port Lincoln locals scared to fall asleep. But Superintendent Paul Barr is trying to put that fear to bed.
Over the period of the last week and early this week, Port Lincoln Police have arrested 8 people in relation to a series of property crimes, so break-ins, vehicle crimes and thefts.
Ranging in ages from 13 to 44. There are different processes for minors and adults.
Those that are under 18 will go through the juvenile justice process, and those that are over 18 and adults will go through the court process.
He also says most of these offences were opportunistic.
People are seeing a vehicle door left unlocked with a handbag on the front seat or a phone in the centre console, or they're seeing a house that is insecure.
But since these arrests, things seem to have improved.
One of the things we've noticed since these arrests have occurred, and since we've been quite active in that space, is that the number of property offences in the Port Lincoln area have decreased, or certainly the number of offences being reported to police have decreased.
However, he still warns everyone to be safe and ensure their property is secure, their doors are locked, and valuables are kept in a safe place, because the problem is ongoing.
We are still investigating. But we would ask anyone who is a victim of these crimes to please report it to police. We can't take any action unless we know about it, and the more we know, the better the chances of us finding who's responsible.
And for those who want to take action into their own hands.
Police exist for a reason, and that is to ensure that people who commit crime are put before the courts, and that's our role. So please leave it to us.
Alison Hall, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Flinders Ranges was once home to an eagle twice the size of the modern-day apex predator, the wedge-tailed eagle. But now, recent findings have helped create a better picture of what this bird would have looked like.
Discoveries like this don't happen every day.
Oh, it was very exciting. It was much more than we expected. In fact, my colleague, Trevor Worthy, who was also my supervisor during my PhD, came up to me and said, "I feel obliged to tell you this never happens."
In 2021, a trip was organised to Mares Cave, where previous fossils had led them to.
So at the time, we only had 4 bones from this species, but we were interested in revisiting the site those bones came from to find more of them.
And find more they did. At the end of the trip to Mares Cave, a further 28 bones, more than 60,000 years old, were found scattered deep among the boulders.
We could then use these bones to help figure out how this extinct eagle was related to modern eagles that are alive today.
So next time you look up and see an eagle, imagine it twice the size. And that's what soared over southern South Australia more than 60,000 years ago.
These fossils are registered with the South Australian Museum, so I don't believe they're intended to go on display right away, but they will be stored in the collections there, and perhaps they might go on display during an exhibit.
To read Dr. Mather's article, visit the Journal of Ornithology and search a giant raptor. Annabella Francis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. The Spencer Gulf giant mural saga continues. Artists transforming this tank into a stunning piece of infrastructure artwork. And it's more than just Election Day in Broken Hill tomorrow. It's also the Perfect Light Festival. Details next. Welcome back. The newest addition to the Southern Yorke Peninsula Water Tower mural trail is now complete. Artists from around the world have come together to create this masterpiece, and it really is a sight to be seen.
Large-scale mural artwork taking the world by storm.
This is in addition to our water tower art in Port Vincent, Stansbury, Earsburg, Yorktown and Kabowie as well. And when the opportunity came up for some extra funding to do this enormous mural, we thought it'd be a great addition.
After securing funding through SA Water and the federal government, it was time to pick a design.
We had a community consultation which lots of people were involved with, and we settled on a design that encompasses the totems, the Narungga totems for our area. You'll see the wedge-tailed eagle, the emu behind me, kangaroo, and also the great white shark.
Renowned artists Mike Macatron and Sam Brooks were selected to lead the project.
When designing this, I was trying to have an area where each artist has their time to shine and their area to focus on, as well as a lot of in-between filler parts to create a story.
When looking at this design, it's hard to believe multiple artists worked on it, as it has come together so seamlessly. Unsurprisingly, this mural is already turning heads, and once complete, Council hopes it attracts even more people to the Southern Yorke Peninsula Trail.
There's a different style of artwork everywhere, so that results in people having their favourites and getting a bit more involved with art, because they can have discussion about what they enjoy about this one, what they didn't like about this one.
Annabella Francis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
As the Leukemia Foundation marks its 25th anniversary of the world's greatest shave, millions of dollars have already been raised this year. With families in regional and remote parts of South Australia facing challenges such as travelling long distances to appointments and a lack of easy access to specialised care and treatment.
Every day, there are 53 people right across the country who'll be told they have a blood cancer diagnosis. And unfortunately, about 18 people a day will pass away because of their blood cancer. So it's the second highest by incidence around the country.
The foundation says over 14,000 people contributed to raising in excess of $10 million this year for medical research and supporting families who are dealing with blood cancer. Donations are still being accepted at theworldsgreatestshave.com. The Perfect Light Film Festival returns to Broken Hill this Saturday night. The festival is coming back in its original form at Sturt Park after being held in Civic Centre for the past 2 years. The night will have a carnival-like atmosphere with food and drink and vendors setting up shop. Madeline West, Marcus Graham and Terry Serio are there as judges, and entertainment kicks off at 6 p.m. with films screening from 7 p.m. Stay with us after the break. Our final cricket tips of this season out of Port Lincoln, with the A and B grade teams counting down the hours until the grand final. And a few showers on the way for some parts of the Spencer Gulf. We'll have the weekend weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Gulf Nightly News this Friday night. Well, this is it, our last cricket tips of the season. The Port Lincoln Cricket Association is the last cab off the rank, holding its A and B grade grand finals tomorrow. In the A grade, it's between Southern Air South and Tasmans, with action getting underway at 12:30 at Centenary Oval. B grade is on at the same time over at Poole Oval. Here's what Andrew Frick thinks will go down.
Welcome to this week's Port Lincoln Cricket Tips. We're here tonight at the Association Awards, and congratulations first up to all award winners, and in particular Connor Madden, who was crowned the A-grade Most Valuable Player here in Port Lincoln. This week's grand final sees Charlton B-grade hosting Southern Air South. This match will be played at Poole Oval. Really good game of cricket on at hands. Charlton into another grand final. They own grand final day in the B grade. They haven't got the job done the last couple of years, and Southern Air South, I reckon, are going to do the job again and knock off Charlton. In the A-grade match, it's Tasmans versus Southern Air. It should be a really good game at Centenary. Southern Air haven't lost all year. Can't go past our boys, Tasmans, to knock them off. Thanks for listening to the Port Lincoln Cricket Tips.
Good luck to all the players. We'll have the results on Monday's bulletin. But it's time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, how's the weather looking for polling day in Broken Hill tomorrow?
Maddie, there will be a few clouds about, but nothing we haven't seen before. The Bureau is predicting a mostly sunny day in the Silver City with temperatures in the high 20s. Looking at some of today's weather now, a bit of drizzle around Port Augusta, 28 the top today. Port Lincoln also copped a few drops, recording 22 degrees this afternoon, a sunny top of 38 degrees up in the Opal capital, Cooper Pedy. Elsewhere, Broken Hill recorded 31 degrees today, 25 in Port Pirie, 23 in Whyalla and Adelaide, and Kadina recorded 24 degrees just after 4 p.m, 12 hours after the overnight low of 11.5 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a ridge of high pressure over southern waters will start to weaken tomorrow, while a trough will move across from the west later in the weekend. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots, seas between 1 and 1.5 metres, and south to southwesterly swell below a metre, increasing up to 1.5 metres. Partly cloudy and set to reach a high of 23 degrees in Port Lincoln tomorrow. Partly cloudy in Cleve as well, 24 there. Becoming cloudy around Woodner, 30 degrees on Saturday, down to 12 overnight. Mostly sunny top of 26 degrees in Whyalla. Mostly sunny and set to reach a high of 29 in Port Augusta. Kadina will be mostly sunny as well, 27 degrees on Saturday. Port Pirie can expect mostly sunny conditions as well, with a high of 29 degrees, 25 the top in Clare, and 28 degrees and mostly sunny in Broken Hill on polling day. The perfect weather for a democracy sausage, if you ask me. Taking a look further through the week now, starting with Sunday's weather map, 30 degrees in Broken Hill, partly cloudy there, 40 in Cooper Pedy, 31 and possible showers for Woodner and Port Pirie, 29 in both Whyalla and Kadina, drizzly around Port Lincoln with a top of 23. Moving on to Monday's forecast now. At this stage, there's medium chance of rain in Port Augusta, most likely in the morning and afternoon, 27 degrees. 27 in Port Pirie as well. Rainy conditions and possible stormy conditions as well. Broken Hill can expect a bit of rain, but less than 1 millimetre. And finally, taking a quick look at Tuesday's forecast. Possible showers hanging around for Port Lincoln and Broken Hill. Not much variation in temperature, ranging between 21 and 26 degrees. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. When you see me next, our viewers in Broken Hill might have a new premiere. I hope you have a great weekend, Maddie, and it's back to you.
Indeed they could, Alex. Thank you, and I hope you have a great weekend as well. And that's the local news this Friday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening and your weekend. Good night.